versus green-black dragons. I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. Yeah, get your hands on that deck list.
Manus Rider, Savage Knuckleblade, Goblin Route Master, Fleece Made Lion, Soulfire Grandmaster, so either way, Rattleclaw Mystic.
Here's a Thoughtseize. Well, the best is
look at that hand.
Mantis Rider side by side with Collected Company. So if Kent didn't know what was going on, well, he's got an idea now. 2 Frontier Bivouacs, a Battlefield Forge, a Yavimaya Coast, and a Stoke the Flames round out that hand. Ugale's deck is a hoot. See you later, Collected Company.
Yeah, we Ken having Hero's Downfall in hand, even if he doesn't know exactly what's going on here, probably just take the source of card advantage, use a removal spell on the 1 threat, leave him with Stoke the Flames.
Frontier Bivouac, the land there for Ashwin. Opulent Palace here for Ketter. Now another Thoughtseize, so he's going to go down to 14. The draw for the turn was a Temple of Triumph there for Ugale. Kent's going to take the Stoke the Flames. He's got an answer for the Mantis Rider, as you mentioned, so he's in the driver's seat thus far.
Taking the Stoke the Flames here probably to clear the path for Dragonlord Ojutai, which is in his hand right now.
There is a Temple of Triumph here for Ugale. Get that card on top, pass the turn back. I know that you like to call things the sampler. Where is the best sampler?
What do you mean?
Where do you get the best sampler at a restaurant? Is it Applebee's, TGI Fridays?
I'm not
a sampler that you truly enjoy.
I'm not really that on top of who's got the best app game right now in the chain restaurant field.
I know at some point you knew that, though.
Yeah.
During your Magic playing days. I'm gonna give you a little hint here. It's,
oh, you know.
It's not Applebee's. I'm just gonna let you know that. A Sansep Citadel and a passing of the turn. It could be our good friend in Uno's, though.
Very likely.
There's Yavimaya Coast, pass the turn back. I'm hoping for a Collected Company here from Ashwin.
Well, I also just love the patience here. I mean, Kent took the Stoke the Flames, which is a little curious. And so I think that Ugale's probably sensing, well, there's a removal spell available here for my Mantis Rider. And if Kent's not going to cast anything, I'm not going to cast anything. I'm with you, though. I am definitely rooting for Collected Company here. So let's call it Savage Knuckleblade and Goblin Rabble Master.
Here's Dragonlord Ojutai, yes.
Here we go.
Spin the wheel. No whammies, no whammies, no whammies. Stop.
All right, Legacy Premier IQ players.
What you got in that bag?
Rabble Master,
Okay,
Mantis Rider.
Sure.
Okay. A little of this, a little of that.
A little bit on the ground, a little bit in the air. None of these threats great right now against Dragonlord Ojutai, but at least it's a lot of power in play.
Battlefield Forge looks like it's going to be land number 5 here. Might be Mantis Rider number 2 time. Can push through a decent amount of damage this turn.
Gotta be really careful how you tap your lands with this kind of deck.
Yeah, you don't want to mess that up.
Remember that Kent was all about Thoughtseizing off the Land of War waste early on in the game, so he's
already
at
down to 14. Yeah. Here's a Goblin token. Here come the beatdowns. You'll get a Rabble Master trigger too. It's a pretty healthy size attack.
This is a lot of damage. I mean, this is 7 points.
Rabble Master's going to get blocked. Ketter's going to take 7. He'll go down to 7. Now there's a Rattleclaw Mystic from Ashwin. Will pass a turn back. All right.
Nothing wrong with this.
No, not at all. The Fobs carry added. Pass turn back. Hero's Downfall already. See Ketter down to 6 from that fetch land. So he's at 6. Ugale's at 19. Oh, what is this? Oh boy. There's a Sarkhan. He can't kill that with Hero's Downfall. And he's probably going to be forced to, honestly.
And then if Ugale has an Alpha Strike ready, then Ojutai goes in front of Mantis Rider. Carry added blocks the Rattleclaw Mystic. Kent goes down to 2.
Yep.
And then Ashwin has to draw one of his. He has a Lightning Strike and 2 more copies of Stoke the Flames.
Everybody's coming in. There are the blocks. Ketter's going to go down to 2. He'll get to draw a card now. Deathmiss Raptor the draw. Courser of Crewfix also in hand here. And Kent's going to have to be real careful with how he taps the mana.
And he's still not really in a position to attack with Dragon Lord Ojutai, which is really where we'd like to get. Because he doesn't want to be sitting here all day long playing defense against someone who could burn him out at a moment's notice.
Top card of the deck is a copy of Den Protector, and now here's a face-up Deathmiss Raptor. Ketter will pass the turn back. Still has to play defense, can die to any burn spell. That's a Lightning Strike. That's the one of. That's going to get the job done. Ashwin Ugale is going to win this match here, game over Ketter. 4-color Eclectic Company up a game over Green-Black Dragons. All right.
Okay.
I like Eclectic Company deck. This is pretty sweet. We take a look at the sideboard here. We'll start with Kent. 3 copies of Ultimate Price not going to be very good in this matchup. A Dragonlord Dromoka, a Dragonlord Salumgar, and Ugin the Spirit Dragon. 3 Foul-Tongue Invocations, 2 Duress, 2 Drowned Sorrow, and then 2 Tasker the Golden Fang.
Definitely like the copies of Foul-Tongue Invocation here. Ashwin's playing a deck with just a lot of chunky permanents, and his life total is under attack. So Foul-Tongue Invocation is the best card in the sideboard here. I think Tasker is a reasonable blocker as well.
We've actually said a lot when we've watched Kent play, and a lot of other players too. Foul-Tongue Invocation just looked good in the format again.
Well, Kent's deck is all about trying to overpower game one with with his various graveyard synergies. But post-board, he wants just some removal spells for the right matchup. And just the same way against Temur Dragons, which is a deck that's attacking you, but it's filled with 3 and 4 mana creatures, and it's not generating a lot of tokens. Foul-Tongue Invocation seems awesome.
What do we see on the sideboard here for this 4-color Eclectic Company deck?
2 copies of Valorous Dance, 2 copies of Negate, 3 Disdainful Strokes, a Hushwing Gryff, a Stratus Dancer, a Den Protector, a Boon Satyr, a Soulfire Grandmaster, and 3 copies of Hornet Nest. A couple of cards in here I really like a lot. The 2 copies of Valorous Dance, the 2 Negates, and the 3 Disdainful Strokes all seem pretty solid at fighting Kent. Now, the Negates are not great here. Kent doesn't have a lot of spells, but he's full of a lot of expensive creatures, so Disdainful Stroke is great, and Valorous Dance is good at fizzling removal or killing some big dragon that slips through the cracks. I think Stratus Dancer, Den Protector, Boon Satyr are all viable options as well.
Well, that should be fun to watch here for game number 2 as both players are going to finish up sideboarding. We'll very quickly talk about the next level library here with Star City Games. That's Patrick Chapin and the 2 books that he has put together, Next Level Magic, Next Level Deck Building. Fortunately, we both have a copy of each.
Exactly, and this book is available on paperback and on ebook. Next Level Magic, much more focused on playing Magic, and Next Level Deck Building, focused on the craft and the philosophy of building decks. For players of all ability levels, if you're new to the game, Patrick does a very good job of breaking down complicated concepts in simple ways. And if you're looking to get to your next level play, Chapin's excellent for that as well. They're available now at starcitygames.com/nextlevel.
He found some time to put these things together, and they are very, very well done. Next Level Magic has been remastered with new examples. Next Level Deck Building finally available in paperback. And I have a copy of each at my apartment back at home in Seattle. They are very, very well done books by the innovator and 9th place finisher at Grand Prix Charlotte.
With a great Grixis deck.
It was really, really good, actually.
Had the match of the weekend against Alexander Hayne, and just missed on tiebreakers.
Really, really good deck. I mean, no surprise to see Chapin do well when he's got 4 Cryptic Commands in his deck. The only thing I was disappointed about is that he didn't have the ability to make a little room for a Cruel Ultimatum.
Just one for like the Jund matchup or something.
One on the sideboard.
For the slower decks.
So I think the reason he probably didn't play it is because if he has one on the sideboard, he's probably going to board it in every matchup.
Yeah, it's definitely a moral hazard for Chapin to have a Cryptic Command, because you can easily justify bringing that all over the place.
Yeah, would not be able to handle having a Cruel Ultimatum in the board. I would want to bring it in even against Burn. Who cares? It's 5 life. Who cares?
They got cards in their hand, probably.
Yeah. It'd be a really bad idea, but I'd want to do it. So not much of a surprise that Chapin got it right, as it were. Ketter kind of on a bit of a free fall right now, and this happens sometimes during tournaments. We have seen this happen with some other players before in the Open Series. I think of Brian Braun doing during Invitational sometimes, where his day 1 is always so good, and then a bit of a free fall on day 2. I mean, anything can happen in a Magic tournament, mana flood, mana screw, what have you. But Kent was 10-0, and now he's 10-3, and he's down a game and might be falling out of top 8 contention.
When we had him on camera in round 11, we said this is essentially a win-in.
Yeah,
that we would have to lose every single round for the remainder of the tournament really to miss top 8, but. Nothing is guaranteed in these things, and it's part of the reason why when people start talking about, with several rounds to go in the Swiss, when they're like, all right, well, if I 3-0, then I can draw in, and they start talking about that. None of that matters. There's just the next match and the next game, and it's really important not to get too far ahead of yourself because, as you said, none of this stuff's guaranteed.
Yeah, I think that's the interesting thing with Magic too, about how you kind of handle wins and losses. You know, when you win 10 matches in a row to kick off a tournament, boy, it feels like you're never going to lose.
I'm great. My deck's great. It's going to be an easy coast into the top 8, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah.
That's what, it's easy to start thinking like that.
You pick up one loss, it's like, okay, that happens. Pick up a second loss, then you pick up a third loss. It's like, what's happening in my tournament all of a sudden?
And then you lose that game where I think after Ken's first 2 thought seizes, he probably thought, I'm in great position.
Yeah.
He's got a Manus Rider to my hero's downfall. I've cleared the path for Dragon Lord Ojutai. This should be a breeze. My opponent's deck looks, you know, a little funky, not particularly good maybe. You know, you're in that space, and then suddenly you're getting lightning striked out, and now you got to pick up 2 post-board games.
We'll see if Ketter can find a configuration he likes after sideboard. He's found a hand he's happy enough with as he starts things off with an Opulent Palace. Ugale has a very painful mana influence to start. Never a good sign when that's land number 1, but his is one of the few decks that probably has to play that on turn number 1 because he has 4 colors.
His mana is pretty stretched.
Here's a Fleecemane line. Ketter will take a draw step.
You want to cast Fleecemane Lion, Manus Rider, and Savage Knuckleblade all pretty early on the game? Gotta go get some mana confluences.
There's a Courser. Take a look at that top card, Dragon Lord Dromoka. Land waste trigger, gain a life up to 21 is Ketter. Yeah, he'll just pass the turn back. Ashwin will take a draw step. See Dromoka's command in hand here. But that can do a lot in this matchup because Kent has drawn a Courser.
Yeah, I don't mind just making Fleecemane Lion a 4/4 and getting rid of the Courser this turn.
Okay.
It's a great use of resources.
Get your beat down on.
Kent with a 6-mana spell on top of the deck. I'm looking to cut off as much mana as I possibly can.
The follow-up is a Frontier Bivouac and pass the turn back. Dragon Lord Dromoka is the draw. Here's a Temple of Deceit. Take a look at the top card. That card stays on top pretty quickly. Here's a Death Mist Raptor. It's looking to block. Pass the turn back over to Ugale. A Valorous Stance, the draw. That's timely.
Modern Premier IQ players, you do not have someone
There's a Plains.
seated across from you. Please raise your hand.
I think there might be a Collected Company in hand, too. There's at least one Disdainful Stroke. Oh, that can't counter Dragon Lord Dromoka.
We'll start the round in about 15 to 20 seconds.
Murderous Cut looks to be the draw here for Ketter. There's a Windswept Heath. Here's an attack for 3. Ashwin not interested in any blocking. Carry added, pass the turn back. Here's Collected Company. Let's spin that there wheel.
That was a pretty aggressive attack there from Kent, I feel like.
Think so?
He's very much the control deck. He's very much on the defensive here. And I'm not sure what getting into 3 points here really matters. There's such a good chance that it's Collected Company here. Okay.
Whoa, my goodness. A flat miss. And now Ketter gets the opportunity to sacrifice his fetch land and cast Murderous Cut on this Fleecemane Lion.
All right, well, now the attack looks good, I guess. If that was going to happen, now the attack looks pretty good.
Oh my gosh. There's the cut on the line. I've seen Collected Company only find 1 card. I've never seen it miss yet.
Now, Ashwin's main deck, 22 creatures. A little bit on the light end for Collected Company.
Sure.
And some of them are probably getting cut as he's moving more spells into his deck.
Here's Dragon Lord Dromoka.
I'm not saying it's likely, but definitely not impossible.
To completely whiff seems rather unlikely.
Yeah.
I would expect it to find something there.
Now, to his credit, Ashwin handled it with class. Gave
Yeah.
a little nod, put his 6 cards on the bottom.
Good beats. Moving along, Dragon Lord Dromoka's here. Can't counter it with that Disdainful Stroke. Once it resolves, can't do anything. Unless you play any spells. Ashwin does have a copy of Valorous Stance that's going to have to be cast here. Get that Dragon Lord Dromoka off the battlefield. One thing that Ketter does not have yet is a Haven of the Spirit Dragon. So no way to rebuy the dragon just yet. Ketter's out of cards. He's all in on this Death Mist Raptor. See what the follow-up's going to be. Let's copy of Hornet Nest. That'll slow everything down.
Yeah, I don't think Hornet Nest is very good in this matchup, but it's certainly good right now.
Yeah.
I mean, Ken's got nothing going on except attacking on the ground.
There's a Courser of Crewfix. Take a look at the top cards. Dragon Lord Darka. There's an attack with Death Miss Raptor. Here's the block. Kent basically saying, I need to get through these insects. So
That's a tough way to do it. I don't know if I would have broken the nest right there. I think I would have held tight at least for a little while. You got some removal spells in your deck still, and now you're giving Ashwin kind of the opportunity to race.
I mean, I understand why he broke the nest, because he's staring at a Dragonlord Tark on top of the deck, so he's saying, okay, I'll kill that, and then I'll kill the insects that are left over. But there's no guarantee that plan goes according to plan. There's Valor Stance. So you can see Ashwin's hand, he's got a negate and a disdainful stroke, so he's got some counter magic at the ready here.
And I like the attack with everything. I mean, you would think maybe I hold back one and try to block, but Ashwin knows that the top of his deck is going to allow him to leverage an aggressive position better than Kent's.
Cards like Mantis Rider and Savage Knuckleblade.
Yeah, you just got some really powerful draws in that space. And if Ashwin ever needs to slow the game down, well, he can hold back on defense. But I like trying to exchange the points like this.
And Kent's going to try to cast Dragonlord Tarka. It gets countered by Disdainful Stroke past the turn back. 13-7, excuse me, in favor of Ketter right now. He's not going to stop attacking, though. So it's a little more beatdowns, thank you much. Take a draw. I think the draw for Ashwin last turn may have been Ojutai's Command.
You guys got one of those hanging out there for good measure, you know?
Sure. Here's a Haven of the Spirit Dragon. Rebuy. Can't counter this. It's a Dragonlord Dromoka. And truth be told, Haven of the Spirit Dragon might be the most powerful card in Kent's deck, because we have watched him play a couple of times at the Season 2 Invitational as well, and it has been very impressive.
Yep. And that was the perfect card to get back, too.
Yes. Can't counter that thing, and it is absolutely huge. Looks like Ashwin's going to cash in his Ojutai's Command now, since it's not doing all that much.
Well, he can get back a Fleece Main line and draw a card.
Sure.
It's not shabby.
Yeah, can't actually. Can't play a spell.
Well, he could have responded.
That's true. Yeah, one of the few things, it's kind of weird with Dragonlord Dromoka how it does that, because you always feel like, okay, your big threat is resolved because I can't counter it, so now I'm going to do something. It's like, nope, that's not true either.
I love that Ashwin's instinct is to keep trucking on in, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not convinced sitting back on defense is going to do all that much. It is pretty tough to say. The one thing that you can point to at Dragonlord Dromoka is that it doesn't trample, at least. Mm-hmm. So that's a benefit. It's kind of humorous that one insect can take down the Dragonlord.
Deadly, man.
They are.
Love it.
They're an easy guy to please when it comes to attacking. Mystic Monastery. Here's Ojutai's Command. It's going to be to get back Fleece Main Lion and either draw a card or get some life. He'll be drawing a card. Pass the turn back. Ketter going to untap very quickly. He'll take a draw step. Again, some very big draws available here for Kent.
Pretty risky attack there from Ashwin.
The Foul Tongue Invocation. Might as well cast that now to get you 4 life. Ketter going to go up to 12. See what he wants to attack with. We'll go with Death Miss Raptor. Death Miss Raptor will trade with an insect. Also smart for Ketter to actually cast that Foul Tongue Invocation on his own turn because of the text on Dragonlord Dromoka. So I think that's a really good play overall.
Yep.
Especially when Ashwin has a negate in his hand.
Things are very safe on Kent's turn. He can do whatever he wants, really.
Fleece Main Lion's going to go monstrous, pass the turn back. Can Ketter find a way to get the insect off the table? The answer right now is no. So we go back Ashwin's way. His counter magic for the most part is pretty poor. Hornet Nest not great in this situation given the big flyer on the battlefield. Ketter picked up a copy of Dragonlord Slumgar. Gonna take that.
Just going for lethal here. And again, coast is clear because of Dragonlord Dromoka.
And that's the power of Dragonlords, and that's really some of the appeal of Ketter's deck right there. Haven of the Spirit Dragon and the Dragonlord creatures allow him to really get the job done, and that's what he's able to do in that game. So we're gonna get ready for a third one here between Ketter and Ashwin Ugale. Green-Black Dragons, 4-color Collected Company. I actually like both these decks. This is why Standard's sweet, man.
I've been in this kind of spot before with Kent, where you're deep in a tournament, you've gotten rocked a little bit in the rounds where it looked like you were pretty close to coasting into the top 8, and then you play against a bizarre deck where both the games feel a lot closer than perhaps they should have, or how at various points they felt like they were going, and it's not a comfortable spot to be in because you really don't know what's going on with Ashwin's deck. Anything's possible, and he definitely has shown the ability to remove dragons from the table. Your Foul Tongue Invocation maybe isn't quite as good as you thought it was going to be because of some of the cards that Ashwin has brought in, and you're just kind of hoping for a mulligan to 5 and getting out of this match as soon as possible.
Just move on to the next
one. I'm not comfortable playing a real long game 3 here with Ashwin, given what his deck's up to.
Fair enough. We'll see how game number 3 does go. Ashwin, of course, will be on the play for that game. We'll very quickly talk about the Star City Games YouTube page, which you can subscribe to for free and find a lot of great, fantastic content on there.
Yeah, you can go over to youtube.com/StarCityGames right now and check out what we got going on in the archives, which has Versus Series videos, some premium archives, Open Series archives. You can check out previous events, and there's some content that's specific to the YouTube page, like unboxing. So head over to youtube.com/StarCityGames right now, become a subscriber, and get notified when there's updates to the YouTube page.
Best part, of course, is it's free. Because free is great. What's wrong with free? Nothing's wrong with free, of course. We get ready here for game number 3 of our match between Ken Ketter and Ashwin Ugale. Winner of this match is still going to be in top 8 contention, so that's certainly important. And we have the chance at some pretty unique decks in top 8. Though again, if you have taken a look at the metagame breakdown, Green Art Devotion, a major player here, 17 copies into day number 2. Mardu Dragons, 14 copies. Esper Dragons, 13 copies. And Tarka Red, 11 copies, even though we haven't seen very much of it outside of Caleb Scherer a little bit earlier yesterday.
And I like the way that Ashwin's played these games.
Me too.
He's been sharp, for sure.
And giving himself the best chance to win.
Yep. He was aggressive in spots where it was dangerous to be aggressive, but he knew he didn't really have the luxury of playing around stuff.
Kent, the only one in day 2, excuse me, not the only one, he's among 3 players playing this Green Black Dragons deck, and won't surprise you, but our only 4-color Collected Company player is on the right side of your screen at home.
Jeff Hoagland told me yesterday that he took a loss to 4-color Collected Company. I'm curious if it was the same player.
Perhaps it was Ashwin. I just love that everyone's still trying to figure out Collected Company because it's such a sweet card.
I think in Modern we're getting there. There's a deep enough of a card pool, and the synergies are so powerful that you can find a mixture of creatures where you're just killing someone. There's the other way to do it, which is what Paul Riedzel and Sperling were doing, which was just play it for value, have things like Night of the Reliquary, Lockstone Smiter. That's a strategy too. Ashwin much more in the second camp. He's just trying to overpower people with powerful individual cards. Manus Rider, Savage Knuckleblade, Goblin Realm Master. You hit 2 of those kind of cards for 4 mana, and you're doing pretty well.
You just don't miss.
Don't miss. Missing is not great.
The fact that Ashwin missed that game and we are still playing,
yeah,
it's actually pretty notable,
he
right?
went on for a couple more turns there. If he finds another copy of Valorous Stance for Dragon Lord Jamoka, he could have turned that game around.
Yeah. That is truly, truly notable that we actually still had a game, even though Collected Company completely whiffed. This 4-color Company deck may be a little better than people expecting. I can dig it. See if Ashwin can get another game win here over this crazy Green-Black Dragon deck that Ketter is playing. As I said, though, I really do like both these decks. I like the idea behind the Green-Black Dragons deck, and when it's actually kind of executing and doing its thing, it seems rather powerful.
And 4-color Collected Company this is pretty fun. If this deck was powerful, people would be having a good time.
Of course.
I am skeptical, even though it turned out to be pretty powerful that game because of some bizarre circumstances. I am skeptical of Hornet Nest in this matchup. I think that if Ashwin's losing, it's likely to be in the air and not on the ground.
I think that is, yeah. I think that's the one card that if I'm Ashwin, and if I'm in his seat, I don't love it in this matchup. The best cards that Kent has, he presents those threats in the air. And those threats are obviously no joke. Both players are happy. Frontier Bivouac is how Ashwin will start things off. Ketter, he's got a Temple. Let's see where that top card goes in just a moment. Looks like he's going to keep it on top. We head back Ashwin's way. Ashwin does have a copy of Collected Company in hand already. There's a Windswept Heath. Going to sacrifice that, go down to 19. We'll have a Plains or a Forest on the way here in just a moment.
All 4 colors.
Just that easy.
Easy.
Within the first 2 lands, all 4 colors. It's just good deck building. Maybe Fleece main line? Oh yeah. Get those beatdowns going.
Let's get this started.
Ketter with a Forest. And a carry at it for a little acceleration. There's a Mana Confluence. Are we going to go maybe to Mantis Rider land? Goblin Rabblemaster, okay.
Pretty good opening here.
Yeah, this is actually a really good opening, and it ruins Kent's ability to play Foul Tongue Invocation.
I was about to say, yeah, this is a great opening here in the face of Foul Tongue Invocation.
The other thing that's really interesting too in this situation, if you're Kent, is I think you have to cast your removal spell on your turn because of a card like Negate.
Yep. You've seen a lot of counters. You've seen Valorous Stance. You can't get too fancy here.
So Hero's Downfall is going to be cast by Ketter. He does have to pay a life thanks to the Llanowar Waste, but Goblin Rabblemaster is off the table. Ugale does have a Temple of Triumph. That's land number 4. Pretty important there for Ketter. That land does not enter the battlefield untapped because Collected Company is in Ashwin's hand. So we'll probably see that next turn. I also see a Rattleclaw Mystic in hand as well. You might see that this turn. There's the attack. 3 damage is going to come through from the Fleece main line. Goblin token will be blocked by the Curiated. Ketter going to fall to 13. Ugale is going to take some damage here to play a Morph, which is a Rattleclaw Mystic. Pass the turn back over to Ketter. Ketter will take a draw step. Looks like he picked up a copy of Murderous Cut. Not a lot of cards in his graveyard at this point.
Yeah, a little slow for this kind of fight.
Ketter does have the ability this turn, however, to do something like Murderous Cut and Deathmist Raptor and pass, or Murderous Cut and Foul Tongue Invocation, kill your Goblin, reveal a Dragon and pass. So
yeah, the Windswept Heath opens up a couple lines of play with the Murderous Cut.
Yeah.
Because it can get it down to 2 mana. It would involve casting Foul Tongue Invocation, I believe, because Deathmist Raptor is a permanent. He needs to put another spell in his graveyard.
Sure. Well, here's Foul Tongue. There's a reveal. Dragonlord Salumgar. There goes the Goblin token. Ketter going to gain 4 life, go up to 17. That Dragonlord Slumgar is going to be in the hand there, Kent. There you go. You reveal a dragon. You don't discard one. That card would be a lot worse.
A little less powerful here.
Kent has sideboard and some Drown in Sorrows. Looks like Ugin as well. So he's got some big draws. Tasker too. Look at a basic Plains off the Windswept Heath. And now here comes Murderous Cut. I imagine it's going to go out to the Fleece main line. Not a lot of more shit to really be worried about in this sort of strategy. You know, a card like Sagumala, for example, you don't really put your opponent on having that in their deck because you can't hit it with a Collected Company.
Right.
Stratus to answer the draw.
Yeah, 1 in the sideboard. It's a pretty good spot for a Collected Company. I think I would unmorph the Rattleclaw Mystic for +1 mana and do it right now because Ashwin does have both Savage Knuckleblade, so you could float a mana and potentially give it haste, and Mantis Rider, and Goblin Rabblemaster. He's got plenty of haste threats to yield off of this Collected Company. So I like unmorphing and just doing it now.
I do wish an unmorph would have happened here, basically for the reason you mentioned, because Knuckleblade is actually the first 2 cards he turned over.
Yeah, I mean he could have floated mana and actually given both Knuckleblades haste, and then Kent's in huge trouble.
Yeah. Now he's got to consult the hand and figure out what cards to take.
I think that his hand has no answers to Dragonlord Salumgar is part of the problem.
That's not good news.
So got plenty of draws. 4 copies of Valorous Stance, I assume, are in his deck at this point, but
And this is tough because if both Knuckle Blades had haste from Rattleclaw Mystic, we're talking about an 8-point hit. Ketter's down to 8, and then he's in some real trouble.
Yeah, and even if Kent were to untap and play Dragonlord Slumgar, well, everything's tapped, and Dragonlord might just have to trade with a Knuckle Blade. This is not a bad consolation prize.
No, it's not bad at all. I mean, he actually still gets to attack for 8 points of damage. You get 3 from the Rider. Oh, excuse me, not 8 because Rattlemaster doesn't have haste, but you get 3 from the Rider, 2 from the Morph, which is a Rattleclaw Mystic, and then 1 from the Goblin. So it's a hit for 6. But Dragonlord Slumgar is still pretty good on this board.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tassiger the draw this turn. And it is pretty hard to pass up on Dragonlord Slumgar. I understand maybe the hesitation because Valor Stance worked its way into the equation last game.
The rest of Kent's hand does not provide enough of a defense. And if your plan is to play Tassiger, well, that's also pretty vulnerable to a Valorous Stance. So this is your highest upside play. If Ashwin's hand's just creatures, I think this gives you the best shot of winning.
And there's Dragonlord Slumgar. Now the big question is, what do you take? Mantis Rider and Goblin Rattlemaster seem like the best options, though. If you're Kent, you're playing against a pretty wacky deck. You might be wondering what that Morph creature is, but he'll take the Mantis Rider, serve in with the Mantis Rider, and now pass the turn back, and he has to hope that Ashwin does not draw a Valorous Stance. That Dragonlord Slumgar can stand tall. There's a copy of Mystic Monastery.
I suppose Ashwin can try to go around Dragonlord Slumgar, but that's really hard to do when he's got a Vigilance creature that he stole.
It's really tough.
Really tough to do.
Time to unmorph. Rattleclaw Mystic will be a little burst in mana. Gonna play another morph here in Stratus Dancer. Other cards in hand right now, Soulfire Grandmaster. Here come the beatdowns, however.
Oof. I love Ken's instinct here of just trade off this Mantis Rider. Do not be leaning on Dragonlord Slumgar to do anything more than what it's already done.
Kent willing to take 3.
He doesn't want to lose his Dragonlord to Lightning Strike, most likely.
Sure, that's certainly on the forefront of his mind, given how the first game ended. Though we know the truth that there's only one Lightning Strike in the main deck, but Ketter not working with the information that we are. But I also like the fact that, he's trying to play it safe, as safe as he can, but also he knows what's in his hand, which is Death Mist Raptor and Tassiger, and now Dragonlord Tremoka in hand. Yep, that's a shrug and a dragon. And now you're compounding the fact that Ashwin needs to draw multiple copies of Valor Stance now.
And now Ken can hang back on defense and say, if you don't draw a removal spell this turn, that's the end of the road.
Yep.
I'll start gaining way too much life, and you've got no defense in the air.
Mantis Rider was the draw.
You don't get a deck list for the Legacy Challenge.
The one thing I do like about Ken Stacker, I would say one of the many things, is that at the end of the day, he's got some of those powerful cards in the format in his deck. And so, there's all this posturing back and forth. You see Ashwin's going to play another Rattleclaw Mystic and a Soulfire Grandmaster, but Kent has the ability to just say, thump, play a dragon. And if you can't do anything about this, you can't do anything about it. Here's the Thoughtseize. This may get countered by the Stratus Dancer. We'll see. Stratus Dancer is going to unmegamorph. So Kent doesn't actually lose any life there from the Thoughtseize. Ashwin doesn't even really have much of a card to protect there, but he's got the spare mana, so.
What else are you going to do?
Yeah.
And keep in mind, Ashwin's actually not that far away from turning the game around. He has Soulfire Grandmaster and enough mana where if he draws Valorous Stance, suddenly it's Valorous Stance every turn.
Yep.
And Kent's not equipped to break that up right now.
Here's an attack for 5. Ketter going to go up to 12. Ugale going to go down to 8. And actually, looks like he took another point of damage, so we'll make sure those light totals are accurate as he's down to 7. Could be Tassiger time, maybe Deathwish Raptor, we'll see. Looks like it is just going to be Deathwish Raptor. Ketter has to take 1 to cast that. He passes the turn back. Is it Valorous Stance? That's the big question. It is not. Another copy of Battlefield Forge. So Ugale still does have a chance here for the reasons that you did mention. That land in Battlefield Forge is mana number 8 in combination with the 2 Radical Mystics and the 6 land. So you could have Activate Soulfire Grandmaster, Valorous Stance. That comes back to your hand. Cast Valorous Stance again.
Yep. And then the sky is completely cleared out.
Mm-hmm. Take a draw step, Will Ketter. I believe it may have been a copy of Den Protector. And it was. And that could become a copy of Murderous Cut. Though the graveyard's not very full right now, so Murderous Cut would not be on the cheap. Ketter looking to get into the red zone here with Dragon Lord and Dragon Lord. Maybe both, maybe only one. Looks like Dramoka wants to come in. Ugale going to go down to 2. Ketter going to go up to 16. Keep in mind, yet again, that Dragon Lord Dramoka does not trample, so you actually can chump block that thing a couple of times. Here's Tassiger, pass the turn back. Now's as good a time as any for V-Stance. That's not the case.
Yeah, another land it appears.
All you can do is pass the turn back. Ketter will take a draw step. Temple of Malady was the draw. Den Protector already in hand. Kent with a lot of options with his mana.
And he's working with complete security. Nothing bad can really happen here.
Yep. Dragon Lord Dramoka will not let anything bad happen. No instant speed removal to play around.
And Ashwin now is in a position where he has to block both flyers.
Also, no collected company to play around. Just nothing. Yeah. Everybody wants to come in here. This is a pretty aggressive attack by Ketter.
Well, he's gained so much life from Dragon Lord Dramoka that he can afford to do this. And all the attackers here are lethal. Tassiger requires a double block, and Deathwish Raptor comes back for free because the last card in Ken's hand here is Den Protector, and so all these attacks are freebies.
Looked like you were in favor of that attack.
I like sending everyone right now.
It looked like Kent was too for at least a little bit, though he's dialed it back a touch. And now it appears everybody's coming on in, making life difficult for Ashwin.
Yeah, this is a quadruple chump block, so this is tough.
And Ketter's going to be getting 5 more life too. Can't forget about that. You kill any of those dragons, there's a Haven of the Spirit Dragon to bring them back.
And now I think even Valorous Stance is it's not enough because Ashwin's not just losing in the air, he's losing on the ground as well.
Yeah, I think that window has now officially been closed with this particular attack by Ketter. Yep, there's your quadruple chump block, as you mentioned. Goblin Token going to jump in front of Tassiger. You got Radical Mystic in front of Deathwish Raptor. Stratus Dancer in front of Dragon Lord Dramoka. And a Mantis Rider going to get eaten alive by Dragon Lord Salumgar. Ashwin has conveniently left himself with enough mana to be able to do the Soulfire Grandmaster shenanigans with Valorous Stance, but I'm with you. I think it might just be too late now. Ketter going to scry the top card to the bottom. Den Protector is going to be morphed here. And pass that turn back. Ugale will draw a card. It's a copy of Dramoka's command.
Too little, too late.
It's Plains. Looks like he'd like to have a little fun here with his Soulfire Grandmaster. And that is going to do it. Ken Ketter's going to win his match here over Ashwin Ugale 2-1. Green-Black Dragons will knock 4 Color Collected Company out of top 8 contention. Certainly a competitive match between the two, but the power of Dragons cannot be underestimated. That's for sure.
Ashwin's got 4 copies of Valorous Dance in his deck post board, but besides that, he can't really compete with those cards individually. So unless he's tempoing Kent out of the game with counter spells and a fast clock, he's not going to be able to hang in most of the games that go that long.
Yeah.
He has to kill each and every one of those dragons, and he only has so many ways to do it.
Valorous Dance is certainly at a premium in that matchup, that's for sure, and he wasn't able to find any in game number 3.
Yeah, he needs as many as he can get his hands on there. He had a pretty reasonable opening there, but he just got overpowered by those dragons.
Yeah, and that game doesn't find Valorous Dance, and then in game number 2, misses with Collected Company. You can say, truth be told, he may have gotten a little unlucky in this match.
Yeah, and the game that he won was really impressive because it looked like Kent was in a very favorable position early on, but Ashwin with Collected Company and some well-timed tricks was able to pull the game 1 out. Just the post-board games didn't find enough copies of Valorous Dance to keep up with all the